I'm telling you guys, YouTube has been adding incredible movies for months now. They're all free to watch. These are official listings on YouTube. They've got a bunch of epic movies like John Wick 1 through 3, The Rock, Dunkirk, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Heat. Instead of talking about those movies, I'm gonna recommend 10 epic movies that went criminally underrated to prove YouTube's movie section currently rivals Netflix, Prime, and HBO Max.
You ever seen one of these? Not many men have. Got out the first one I killed.
As far as epically underrated movies go, though, my number 10 pick is Reign of Fire. A movie set in a dystopian future where the world has basically been ravaged by dragons, everything's burnt to a crisp. You've got the last remaining human factions surviving in castles. The cast is led off by Christian Bale, well before he was Batman. You've also got Gerard Butler before 300 and a totally badass Matthew McConaughey. Probably his most badass role ever. And even though the movie itself is relatively badass, I actually watched this with my family recently. Everybody loved it. Believe it or not, it's tamer than Jurassic Park with a lot of the same thrills. Now, it's not quite as good, which is why it's my number 10 pick, but still an epic futuristic movie about dragons.
There's nothing magical about it. They're made of flesh and blood. You take out their heart, you bring down the beast.
I consider the X-Files movie to be epically underrated as well. Not only was this an amazing movie that did bridge to the show, there are a lot of connections. This movie stands on its own quite well. Now, there are some plot points that connect to the show directly that are not going to totally make sense, but for the most part, this movie stands on its own as an interesting X-Files movie, meaning it sets up what the X-Files are, who these characters are, and has a full-fledged story arc. Unlike the show, which would often leave you with a cliffhanger, this movie feels relatively complete and very well done. I'm surprised they didn't do more of these. This one's so good. And actually, scratch that. They did do an X-Files movie like well over 10 years after this one, maybe 20, and it very much just felt like an episode of the show, whereas again, this movie stands out as an epic movie.
So much for Little Green Man.
Trust no one, Mr. Mulder.
If that's not enough alien action for you, they also have Cowboys and Aliens. I didn't put that movie on this list, even though I could have. I also recently watched that with the family. It's pretty tame as well. And I remember not liking it when it released. I, for some reason, expected more, but all these years later, going back and not expecting much, Cowboys and Aliens is a lot of fun to watch. Luc Besson, the writer and director of Leon the Professional and La Femme Nikita and The Fifth Element, did an awesome martial arts movie with Jet Li that stands out in the genre. It's titled Unleashed. In this movie, Jet Li plays a man who was essentially captured by a gangster when he was a child and essentially raised like a dog.
How did you do that?
Like my saint of a mum used to say, get 'em young and the possibilities are endless. Kill him.
I mean, he's literally eating like SpaghettiOs out of the can. Not that there's anything wrong with that, I used to do it all the time. But this English gangster, played by Bob Hoskins, who obviously like does a killer job, raised him to be his attack dog. He can literally like sick him on his opponents. So you get brutal action. Jet Li's awesome in the movie, but the movie's fairly touching as well. He ends up befriending a blind man, played by Morgan Freeman. Kerry Condon from F1 also has a role in this. So with Unleashed, you get this amazing Jet Li martial arts action and an overarching story that's exceptional for this genre, as well as just a visual style that really pops with Unleashed. It's one of the first true disaster movies, The Poseidon Adventure. An amazing movie about a capsized cruise ship and the last remaining survivors climbing their way up to the hull of the ship, if that makes sense. Especially for the time period, the Poseidon Adventure looks amazing. For most of the movie, all of the sets are upside down. They're continuously filling with water. It's just an amazing action adventure movie, especially from that decade. It still stands out and is a hell of a thrill ride. I mean, they did a remake to this, loaded with CGI and all sorts of visual effects that were just not available when the original came out, and I think the original is still head and shoulders above it. If you remember the days days of browsing the aisles at Blockbuster Video, you'll remember there was a ton of Steven Seagal flicks in the 90s. Half of them included hostage situations on ships and trains, but to this day, one of the best movies Steven Seagal ever starred in is still, I think, highly underrated, Executive Decision. Now, even though Steven Seagal has a pretty significant role in Executive Decision, you would not call this a Steven Seagal movie. Kurt Russell's really the lead here. This movie's got so much in common with classic hostage movies like Die Hard. It's certainly every bit as suspenseful as Die Hard, maybe not quite as classic. But the movie's loaded with tense moment after tense moment, and even though it's got a bunch of years on it now, Executive Decision still doesn't feel as stale as you would expect.
Look at her, she's shaking. She's not gonna do it.
Wait a minute. All right, ladies and player boys, she's with us.
If you like the shirts I wear here on the channel, they're all available at DarrenVanDam.com, but I've got some new shirts available. In fact, the best-selling designs are now available in a reversed design. The design's on the back, it's a bit bigger. Each one's got a special little icon on the front. Now the shirts are a fitted design. I love the way that they fit. They're super soft and snug, but if you like your shirts to fit looser, definitely consider going a size up. I know summer's almost over, but the shirts are also available in tank tops. Again, it's DarrenVanDam.com/shop. It's a great way to support the show while also sporting the movies that you love. Even though almost every single time they turn an old classic TV show into a movie, it's a cash grab that is quickly forgotten with time. There is one action movie though that stands above the rest. I'm honestly surprised how well this movie turned out and shocked we never got a sequel to The A-Team. Now, I think this movie is almost every bit as good as the latter Mission Impossible movies. It's a bit wilder, a bit more over the top, and more fun as a result. I mean, there are multiple sequences in this movie that don't really make any sense, but the movie's so fun, the characters are having so much fun doing it, it really doesn't matter. I mean, it's got a consistent tone, again, that over-the-top action. I think this movie is better than most of the Fast and the Furious movies. The only reason I point that out is it does have a somewhat similar vibe. It has some fun with callbacks to the original show without hammering that same drum throughout the entire movie. This one pops. It's a lot of fun. If you just want kind of a wild action ride and it's been a while since you've seen it, I can tell you this movie delivers better than you probably remember. Out of all the epic movies YouTube currently has for free right now, they have The Dirty Dozen, which is an amazing World War II, basically an action movie very much like Inglourious Basterds. While I highly recommend that movie, it's fairly well known, but there's another World War II movie also starring Lee Marvin that I think has gone criminally underrated for over 4 decades now. The Big Red One from 1980.
Griff.
Ho!
Zab.
Ho!
Lynchy.
Ho!
Lee Marvin is awesome in this movie. It also stars Mark Hamill and Robert Carradine. And this movie's about a small group of soldiers led by Lee Marvin, who's this real grizzled sergeant, but he's taking a small group of surviving soldiers through one battle after another. Quite literally in this movie, they're just moving their way through Europe. But what I love about the movie is all the different engagements that they're in are completely interesting. I've seen countless World War II movies, and this one featured a lot of stuff I've never seen in any other war movie, period. As well as a bunch of other things I have seen in a lot of war movies, I will give you that, but The Big Red One stands out as just a classic World War II movie that never got the respect it deserved. If that's not enough World War II action for you, I will say they also have Fury, the one with Brad Pitt, another excellent movie that was fairly well reviewed when it came out, but has not really maintained a foothold in the culture going forward. And I will say, I've watched this one multiple times, and it kind of takes me by surprise each time I see it. It's better than I remember every time. The 13th Warrior is an amazing, epic movie starring Antonio Banderas that I never see available on any streaming service ever, except for free on YouTube. It's on YouTube every now and then. It's available now. It's an incredible movie that was underrated when it released and has gone just completely forgotten with time, but this is a loose adaptation of Beowulf. Or rather, The 13th Warrior is a loose adaptation of the Michael Crichton novel, Eaters of the Dead, which itself was a loose, more realistic adaptation of Beowulf. Meaning there's not much of a supernatural element with The 13th Warrior. There is a little bit, but it plays the Beowulf story in a much more grounded way. And what you get is this incredible, epic, historical war movie, almost. There's ultimately like a covert mission where they're sneaking inside the cave. The movie pops cinematically. It just looks amazing from beginning to end. This is one of those movies, for whatever reason, the culture just didn't grab onto it, but I would put this one above a lot of things in the same genre from the 90s. It's just top-notch stuff. If you're in the mood for something else from the 90s, though, with a similar vibe, I also highly recommend The Edge. It's also free on YouTube right now. Not quite an underrated movie, so I didn't want to include it on this list, but just an amazing survival story and a real just grizzled, masculine, hard-nosed type of a flick, just like The Big Red One, Fury, and The 13th Warrior. Ridley Scott created some of the most legendary movies of the 70s and 80s. You've got Blade Runner and Alien, but after those two, his next big movie was a fantasy movie that is stunning in every conceivable way. It's titled Legend. Now, right off the bat, this movie features some of the most incredible fantasy-based cinematography you're going to see in a movie everywhere. That includes Lord of the Rings. This movie looks amazing. On top of that, everything you're seeing is in camera. There are no computer effects in this movie. It's all sets, costumes, lighting, and my goodness, the incredible performance by Tim Curry. He plays the devil or the darkness in this movie. He is completely covered in rubber. I mean, his entire face and body are consumed with this suit, yet his performance rocks through this thing. It's amazing. You've also got young Tom Cruise playing the hero, all sorts of villains with, again, amazing costumes and puppetry.
And what a fine, fat boy you are, Jack.
You don't really mean to eat me, do you, ma'am?
Oh, indeed I do!
If you liked movies like Labyrinth when you were younger and you somehow never saw Legend, it's like that, but much more mature. And then my number one pick on this list of epic, underrated movies is both of those things. It's highly underrated, it's very epic, but it's a bit more dry than anything else I put on this list. The Count of Monte Cristo.
How did I escape? With difficulty. How did I plan this moment? With pleasure.
Now, obviously, it's based on the classic novel, which is just an amazing story on its own, but this movie is top-notch stuff. Now, it's pretty straightforward. The filmmaking is not going to blow your mind. There's no major changes to the story that are going to turn things on in their head or anything like that. The movie's just a pitch-perfect delivery of the Count of Monte Cristo's story. It stars Tim Caviezel and Guy Pearce. You got great performances without any big name actors coming in and sort of distracting from things. Tons of amazing sword fights. I will say the movie's pretty long. It's well over 2 hours, and it does drag at bits just because of the way the story is structured. But I still absolutely love this story, and then the sword duel at the end is just well worth the wait leading up to it. A top-notch flick a lot of people missed. Hopefully you found something to watch off of this list. Here's a recap along with some other streaming services currently hosting these same movies in case you don't want to watch the YouTube ads. These listings are subject to change pretty quickly, so make sure you've clicked the subscribe button, maybe even the bell icon, if you want to get notified as soon as I release these videos, so you don't miss the movies before they're gone. Thanks for watching this YouTube episode, and you will see me on the next one.